So, okay, let's get started. Hello, everybody that is online. Welcome to this first webinar of the first open call of the project Imagine-B5G. We have a 2 million euros for this first open call for vertical experiments and also what we call platform extensions of the 4 facilities in the project that you will, well, you know already, and you will know a little bit more. In this webinar, we have structured the webinar, so we have like 45 minutes presentation, and then the idea is to have questions from people interested in the open call. And well, the deadline is 1st of September, so there is still some time, but it's time to start working the proposals, checking questions. There is a feasibility check. So let's get started. My name is David Gomez Barquero. I'm a professor at the Technical University of Valencia, and I'm the coordinator of the project. So let's see. Okay, so first of all, the most important thing is that we have 4 facilities in Norway, in France, in Spain, and Portugal. The project we started in January. It's a Stream D project of SNS. We are 17 partners. The project will last for 3 years, and every year there will be an open call. So, well, regarding the objectives of the project, 40% of the budget is for open calls. So actually, or let's say, our main objective of the project is actually to engage third parties, that they come to the facilities either to perform vertical experiments or also to extend the platform. And as I said before, there will be 1 open call every year, and related to or associated to that, there will be 3 releases of the platform or the facilities. The first one is about to be ready very soon, because the idea is that the partners or the third parties join the project and start working in November. So basically, we are in this first round and first year, and now getting ready the facilities to onboard the verticals. And well, I'll leave you with Ogdu that will explain the objectives and priorities of the open call.
Hi everybody, my name is Özgü and I'm a professor at the University of Oslo, and I will be leading the technical aspects of the open calls. So I will just provide you brief information about the objectives and the priorities of the open calls. So David mentioned a little bit, but we just launched the first open call recently, and the September 1st is our deadline, and we are planning to have the successful proposals starting in around October-November timeline. And as you can also see from the timeline in general, there will be another call in 2024 and one in 2025. So in terms of basically the call objectives and priorities, we are targeting to basically engage third-party stakeholders. We want you to conceptualize, develop, experiment, test, and validate the vertical applications and experiments on our facilities. So that is the overall main goal. We also would like to provide novel features which we might not have right now through hardware and software extensions in the Imagine Beyond 5G facilities. So towards this end, in the first open call, we have basically two categories. The first category for proposals is vertical experiments. In the vertical experiments, what we expect is we expect proposals that consider research, innovation, experimentation of verticals, use cases, applications on Imagine beyond 5G facilities. The other type of project you can apply is platform extensions. And in the platform extensions, we are looking for hardware and software extensions to the facilities. In the first open call and probably in the following one, we are not considering extending the number of facilities, but we are considering to have these extensions on the facilities we have in Imagine Beyond 5G. So I will try to provide a little bit more information on the vertical experiments and platform extensions. So for vertical experiments, Imagine Beyond 5G is the consortium is actively working on 7 different verticals in this domain. And for these domains, we are looking for, or we desire to have complementary experiments in these verticals. In order to do that, we have basically prepared a document called the vertical experiment document, where we highlighted these verticals and what different aspects in these verticals we are working on. And to this end, we basically said, identify different use cases. For example, in PPDR, we are interested in firefighting and forest surveillance. This will be basically a vertical use case that is of interest to the French facility. For example, we also have IoT platform for crisis management, which is the Portuguese facility is interested in this use case. So in media, we have several different use cases. For example, holographic communication in the Spanish facility, or remote production in the Norwegian facility. In terms of transportation and logistics, we have also different use cases there. For example, you can propose something on improved localization mechanisms for transportation and logistics, or you can think about telepresence aided maintenance in this vertical. Industry 4.0, industrial infrastructure automation is one use case we have identified of interest. In education, we are interested in how we can make remote education more immersive. Smart agriculture and forestry, we have smart agriculture in rural areas, for example, or forestry connectivity and monitoring is the other use case. And finally, for e-health, we are considering use cases such as enhanced care facilities, or how we can provide remote care with immersive media facilities. So as I mentioned, these are the verticals the consortium are interested, and we are interested to kind of get complementary experiments in these domains. But that said, we are open to other vertical experiments or other use cases under these verticals. So if you have other experiments in mind, as long as you can justify and as long as we can run on the facilities, you are very welcome to apply. In terms of platform extensions, we basically identified a combination of hardware and software platform extensions that we are very interested to see as projects. For example, in terms of hardware, for example, the radio equipment and advanced modem devices, this is basically the desire for several facilities. We are also interested in immersive equipment. This can be the haptics, robotics, or holographic immersive equipment for Spanish and Norwegian facilities. We are interested in advanced 5G core and RAN solutions. Open RAN is also an interest for several facilities. advanced edge cloud continuum solutions, network as a code, intent-driven zero-touch solutions, and functionality extensions and facility expansions. Assurance and automatic solutions are also other type of platform extensions you can submit a proposal for. Similar to the vertical experiments, if you have different ideas, please reach out to us. We are open to other platform extensions. These are basically the ones we have identified, we could think of. As long as it's feasible and of interest, these are also possible. So in terms of funding, as basically David mentioned, we have 2 million euros to distribute in this round. And one thing that is very important is we would like to contribute in the innovation in the European ecosystem. So we would like to allocate at least half of our budget to SMEs, scale-ups, and startups. How we will distribute this 2 million euros? So it will be basically two parts for vertical experiments and platform extensions. So vertical experiments, we are considering a duration of 12 months for each experiment. And in this first round, we are planning to support up to 15 projects. So you can basically submit a proposal considering just one partner, and then you can get up to 100,000 euros. Or you can build a small consortium, one consortium lead and one partner, coordinator and a partner. Then you can get little over basically 100,000. You can get up to 140,000 euros. For the platform extensions, these projects require integration, testing, and support. That's why we are considering a little bit longer periods of 18 months. And for the first round, we are considering to support 7 projects in this category. And similar to the experiments, if you have one partner doing everything, you can get up to 150,000 euro. If you build a small consortium, a total amount you can get for this type of project is 200,000 euros. I would like to basically also show you a little bit about the submission process and preparation before we go a little bit details into each facility. So you can basically go to our website and click the open call link, and then you will basically see this first open call part. And here you basically see all the required documents and information. So you can basically find the platform, you can find the description of the facilities, you can find the document related to the vertical experiments I described, and platform extensions that are described. But maybe the good starting point for everybody is to read the guide for applicants that basically summarizes everything you need to know. We also provide a proposal template. You just take this template and fill in the fields, necessary fields. And we also provide basically the sub-grant agreement that needs to be signed for information. Jim will provide more information on that a little bit later on. So when you basically are on the website, you will see the submission of proposal part where you basically join Imagine Beyond 5G now. You just need to click that button. It will take you to a portal where you can basically submit your proposal. So this submission portal is already open. The deadline is set to September 1st. You can update your proposal up until the deadline many times as you like. And we will basically use this portal for evaluation and communication for related to the proposals. With that, I would like to welcome Min to introduce the facilities and the Norwegian facility. Thank you.
And thank you. My name is Min. I'm the technical manager of the Imagine Beyond 5G project. So next, I will give a very brief introduction about the Imagine facility sites. In general, we have 4 facility sites in Spain, Norway, France, and Portuguese. These sites, they have their own architecture, but in general, we have this overall architecture diagram, which consists of several components, and each facility has the flexibility to choose and combine these components based on their requirements and preferences. So the facility architecture include two parts. The first is about the service, the 5G network, 5G and beyond 5G network service, which consists of three domains in general: the core network domain, the radio access domain, and the transport network domain. And each facility has the freedom to select different vendors or different type of solutions to build up their network domains. On top of that, we also have the other area, which is the orchestration and management, that is taking care of the service provisioning and the lifecycle management of all these components. And again, each facility has the flexibility to choose different types of orchestrators, or they can have their own version of orchestration and management systems. In addition, we also have the expectation on some add-on services such as the network security, how each facility employs different mechanisms to protect the infrastructure, the components and services and applications at different levels. Finally, we also hope and plan to deploy test and validation tools, and which will monitor and test the network components as well as end-to-end network services in using different testing tools, which then later will provide the KPIs for further validation and more advanced analytics that will create extra values for vertical industries. So this is a general architecture of the facility site. Then, as I said, each individual facility site will have their own design about their facility. Next, I will give an introduction about the Norwegian facility. Norwegian facility basically has the same architecture as the general facility architecture, as I shown before. And for specifically in the Norwegian facility, we have already established 3 radio sites in Fornebu, in Svalbard, and Trondheim, respectively. These are the specific characteristics of this facility sites. In addition, there are also 2 additional radio sites ongoing, one of which is in University of Oslo. The other one is at University in Trondheim for another university, NTNU. For each of these radio sites, we also have the plan to deploy edge clouds to enhance the service provisioning and improve the performance. For example, in Svalbard, now we are building an autonomous edge to support the time-sensitive applications in Svalbard, which is far, far away from the central cluster located in Fornebu. And this is ongoing. And for the other radio sites like NTNU and the UIO, we plan to use the local breakout for the edge cloud services. Besides, we also have a portable mobile 5G network, which we call the network on wheel. This is to serve specific use cases, for example, PPDR and multimedia. And this is also the venue which we welcome the extension to, for example, to the network on wheels, and as well as the external extra vertical experiments. Then speaking of the platform itself, the facility itself, the Norwegian facility has a specific multi-vendor 5G core platform, which is jointly provisioned by 3 vendors, Casa, Enya, and Oracle. And all these network functions are deployed in the cloud-native environment supported by Red Hat OpenShift. We also have professional security solutions provided by Palo Alto, which includes both the firewall and the network or container protection platform. So one objective of this open core is to enhance this multi-vendor platform. For example, currently we have this network functions included in the 5G as a core, but we do have the plan to extend this 5G as a core with more network functions such as NEF and WDEF and SEP. At this moment, we're working on the inclusion of a SEP for the roaming use case, which is of high interest to the telco businesses. So for this example, we also welcome the vertical experiments to use these new functions and create more values. The next is about the, so in general, the Norwegian facility is open to all vertical experiments in all verticals, such as PPDR, multimedia, forestry, e-health, and logistics. But we have at this moment, we have a specific use case from UIO, which is targeted at a sustainable immersive communications, and they have the interest to enhance their vertical experiments, for example, by getting more devices and more experiments, right? And I guess that is for the Norwegian facility. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Fran from UPV, and I'm going to present the main features of our facility. The Spanish facility is formed for four different sites with different environments. We have a rural site located in a small village, a maritime port in Valencia, and a university campus in Valencia also. We have an experimental laboratory from Nokia to test different solutions and features. Our facility has standalone and non-standalone deployments with multiple 5G cores. All the radio and edge equipment is from Nokia. We also now we have the 3GPP release 16 in all the different sites, and we have network slicing capabilities where we can create different slices based on the different application requirements. Also, we have APIs functionality through network as a code and CAPIF. Related with the security to access to different resources available across the facility, we have a VPN certificates, and we have per each site we have a dashboard where we can monitor the energy consumption, radio status, KPIs, and move on. The UPV campus environment is located in Valencia. Here we have a standalone and non-standalone network with multiple 5G cores, and the core of this site is the immersive laboratory. We have a local server with network as a code and CAPIF to test different solutions in this site, and a cloud continuum capability based on Amazon Web Services that allows us to move workloads from local to cloud. The immersive laboratory is an space with several equipment such as cabin telepresence, volumetric capture, haptic and holographic technologies. In this space, we have a standalone coverage with 100 megahertz of bandwidth. And what looking for? We are looking for a vertical related with media, with holographic communication, transportation, and logistic, with telepresence aided maintenance, and education with immersive remote education. The Valencia port environment is located in the cruises and sea zone. Here we have a non-standalone network in millimetrical waveband, but we are studying the possibility to install N77 band in standalone mode. Here we are looking for PPDR vertical experiments with critical surveillance and inspection at maritime port, and multifunctional remotely operated boat. And finally, our rural site that is located in a small village. Here we have a standalone and non-standalone networks with outdoor coverage, and here we have a lot of sensors network that works in LoRa band. This site is full powered by green energy, such as solar and wind, and this is an agricultural environment, and we can access to this site through Starlink's satellite connectivity. In this site, we are looking for transportation and logistic vertical, that the use case will be telepresence aided maintenance, and smart agricultural and forestry with smart agriculture and rural areas. So that's our main site. We also have an experimental laboratory, but only to test different solutions.
So hello, I'm Jose from the Portuguese facility. So the Portuguese facility is geographically distributed in the Aveiro area in Portugal. We have different sites. So we have two main data centers, which makes this facility a multi-domain facility. Each of the data centers is equipped with different solutions from 5G, and also has the capability of hosting vertical and third-party virtualized and containerized solutions. In terms of radio coverage, we have both outdoor and indoor locations. Each location is covered with different radio solutions, and in general with multiple antennas, which makes it possible to do some experimentation on handovers and things of the sort. One of the outdoor locations is near to the Aveiro seaport, which makes it suitable for exploring smart port solutions and also for transportation and logistics. We have also an outdoor location that is distributed over the city, in which we have different sensors spread around the city that could be leveraged for some information gathering and some IoT solutions, for example, for PPDR and so on. We have then indoor locations both in IT, Aveiro, and in Altis Labs, which are very suitable for the initial experimentation and validation and development of the different proof of concepts before taking it into the other outdoor locations. These sites are also covered with different antennas. So again, you can test almost everything you can do outside. You can first experiment it in the lab in a more comfortable environment. And then we have two specific indoor locations. One that is in the University of Aveiro, covering an electrical substation, which makes it suitable for exploring any sort of energy use cases, and also an indoor industry location, which is suitable for Industry 4.0 and so on. And this solution leverage local breakout edge deployments. And in general, we have a growing fiber infrastructure, which can be leveraged for expanding the reach of the facility. In fact, in the platform stations we mentioned, not only the expansion of the inners of the 5G core and the RAN, etc., with specific functionalities, but also to the expansion of the facility itself. So summarizing this, the technological landscape. So we have these different indoor and outdoor 5G SA infrastructure, which has been validated in different use cases. By having these multiple technologies, we are able to provide the different solutions, so you can come with the initial experiment and experimenting in a more flexible solution to try things out, and then you can do some validation on how this will work in more commercial-like deployment in more rigid infrastructures. We provide the edge computing solution with the local breakout. The fact that we have two different domains make it perfect for exploring multi-domain of federation scenarios, also PNI and PN. And again, we have the capability of hosting these third-party virtualized or containerized network applications, and the support for experimentation and development in urban intelligence and mobility scenarios. So that was it from my side.
So hello everyone, thank you again for attending this webinar. I am Karim from Euricom, and today I'm representing the French facility. The French facility is located at Euricom, a private research lab and an engineering school in France, more precisely in Sophia Antipolis in south of France. Euricom provides the community with the open source 5G solutions to accelerate the innovation and also to validate the vertical use cases. Among these softwares, we have the Open Air Interface, Radio Access Network, and 5G Core Network. So the Open Air Interface provides both standalone and non-standalone deployments in both FR1 and FR2. So for FR2, currently we support only NSA, but in near future we will support the standalone. So if this is an opportunity for contributors, if they want to apply for the extensions to improve the millimeter wave implementation. So the Open Air Interface RAN is connected with commercial radio units, including the AW2S, the Mavenir, the Interdigital, and also recently the Light On that supports the 7.2 split. Regarding the vertical use cases, we support URLC services with a latency down to 4 milliseconds. We also support MMTC for IoT devices, and for eMBB, we can go up to 800 megabits in downlink and 60 megabits for uplink. So if you are vertical and you have some fancy use cases that supports strict requirements in terms of latency and throughput, you can apply for this open call. And also everything is microservice. So the applications will be containers deployed at the edge. So if you are vertical, you will not only get 5G connectivity, but also you will benefit from an orchestration framework and automation process. So in this figure, you will see different layers. We have the vertical layer. So for vertical, you will see only this layer. You will define your application, the GitLab if you have the code source, or the Docker images if they are public or private. You can define it in a web portal. Then you can create a network slice at the RAN by providing the throughput you want, and in the core network by providing the user information like the AMZ, the key, and the OPC, the operator key. Then this information will go through different layers of the facility, the orchestration layer, in order to fill the network service descriptor and send it to the edge, and also some XApps descriptor and send it to the RAN. And then the RAN will configure the XApp to create a slice at the RAN, and also the edge will do the automation at the edge in order to deploy onboard and instantiate the application automatically. So if you are vertical, you would not care about all these details. You just need to fill your application description at the web portal, then everything will be deployed in the facility, and you can bring your robots or devices. If you have virtual reality use cases, you just need to connect them to our 5G network, and then you can test your application. For the developer, you can contribute in both the run and the core network by extending the current implementation of network functions or add more network functions, develop your X apps. Then you can access our CI/CD platforms in run and the core network to automate the test. So for your end, you will just describe the use case you want, for example, running Hyper from user equipment to the edge, and then push your code on a GitLab branch, and then everything will be executed automatically, and you will get the logs of your applications. So if you are vertical and extension contributor, you can apply for the French facility. This is all from my side.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Jim Clark from the Southeast Technological University in Ireland, and our role in the project is looking after the administrative and financial aspects. And I'll just present some of these. On a high level, this just shows the timeline of the open call management and the execution phases. So most of this has been covered by my colleagues, David and Ozu. The one thing I'd like to highlight here is that after the selection process, the successful proposal will be invited to sign the subgrant agreement, and the subgrant agreement is already available with the call, and there's no negotiation allowed for this. This subgrant agreement has been tried and tested in many open calls for micro companies all the way up to large companies, and also academia and research. So the important thing is that please pass this on to your legal departments, during the early stages, as you must acknowledge and that it's been read and understood when submitting the proposal. The only caveat is that there could potentially be some changes to be made during the feasibility check phase. There might be some IPR and also additional clauses needed for the extension projects, which we will take care of after the feasibility check. Then once the projects are selected, in order to make the process as smooth and as comfortable as possible, each beneficiary of the funded projects will be assigned a patron pair from each of the facilities or from the relevant facilities that they're operating in to facilitate the smooth onboarding and monitoring throughout the project lifetime and beyond the project lifetime. In terms of the eligibility criteria, much of this was covered already, and it's quite typical to open calls in European projects, so I won't go into them in detail. I'd like to just point out a couple of things here that as I said before, there's the subgrant agreement requirement to be read and understood beforehand. The applicants have not been awarded. This is more for the second open call, that if they've received an open call project in the first open call, if you have an overlapping with the current call, they cannot have the same another project at the same time. Another important one is that the applicants have not submitted more than one application to the same call. We've had a number of queries about whether an application could be put in for more than one of the facilities, for example. So our answer to that has been yes, this is possible if you can justify this and explain it. It probably would be more appropriate for the platform extension projects, but what we say here is that you should not put in for two separate proposals, one for facility 1 and the other for facility 2. Just put in one proposal and explain that you want to have a project with 2 of the facilities, and then you would have to do a feasibility check on both of the relevant facilities. Another question has come up, can a project address both the vertical experiments and also platform extensions? So again, our answer has been yes, if you can explain how you have to do some research and innovation before you do the platform extension. That's certainly possible, but you can only submit one proposal, and you have to explain which of the two of those, whether it's a vertical experiments priority or whether it's a platform extension priority, and you'll be putting that proposal into just one submitted proposal. There's nothing to prohibit an application to our open call at the same time as an application to another SNS project, but just under no circumstances can there be double funding, and the projects will be coordinating amongst each other to determine if there's multiple participations in the open call projects. And then if accepted for funding, the coordinators are required to sign a declaration of honor, which is that the entity is eligible for financing in line with the eligibility rules of Horizon Europe, declares that there's no double funding, and has the operational capacity to carry out the project. And there could be some additional requests for documentation. And then a feasibility check must be carried out with the relevant Imagine-B5G facilities. And there is going to be a template that we'll provide to you in the next week or so that you'll fill in, and you can meet virtually with the facilities to discuss the technical feasibility of the extension and the experiments on this facility. And then you can contact the Imagine-B5G team with the main idea of the proposal and the facility of interest, and sign up for a feasibility check session. And then each facility will organize feasibility checks during regular intervals. The meetings will be arranged on a first come, first served basis, so please do this as early as you can and don't leave it to the last moment. And the facilities will provide feedback to the proposers, and then this feedback will then be copied into your section F of the proposal template. If a feasibility check is not carried out, the proposal will be deemed ineligible during this process, and the deadline for this is the 18th of August. In terms of the evaluation, I won't spend too much time on this, it's been covered already, but there will be external and internal evaluators carrying out the evaluations. The team will be appointed based upon their expertise and the topics and avoiding conflicts of interests. And the project will be implementing 2 ranking lists in order to fund the 2 categories of stakeholders. SME entities is one important category where 50% of the budget will be allocated. And then other entities such as academia, research organizations, and large companies. And the distribution of the ranked projects, starting from the SME list to the facilities, will be based on the specified number of open call users each facility can support. In terms of reporting, we're keeping this to a bare minimum because we would like to focus the projects on the achievement of the technical aspects. But in summary, there are 2 deliverables. The first deliverable is the intermediate execution plan, which includes a report of the usage of the resources to fulfill the contract and for the first half of the project. And then the second and final deliverable is the final experimentation extension report, including a report on the usage of the partners. And part of this will be a public document that we can use for the Imagine-B5G project itself. It'll also have the financial information that we'll be collecting, and so the reporting requirement is outlined in more detail in the sub-grant agreement, Annex 2. And again, I just want to point out on the sub-grant agreement that it's available now for download, and the agreement is between the coordinating partner of the proposal and SETU, my organization. And as I mentioned, there's no negotiation, and there's a few minor clarifications may be required, such as the inclusion of the necessary partner information of the winning consortiums, and also things such as IPR, which can be discussed and agreed during the feasibility check. And again, some additional clauses may be needed for the extension projects or the use case or vertical pilots projects, depending on the discussions that are held between the facilities and the project partners in the feasibility check. In terms of allowable cost categories, there's personnel costs for the development, integration, experimentation, testing, and validation. Infrastructure, hardware, and software to deploy the project, travel and accommodation to participate in the proposed activities, communications and promotional activities. And the project will be monitoring through the deliverables I mentioned before. We will be monitoring the costs of the project, and we will be using the lump sum model for payment. Okay, now I have a large set of frequently asked questions here in the following slides, but what we've been doing is we've been collecting the questions from the applicants already, and then we're creating frequently asked questions. But instead, I think we'll open the floor for questions. And these FAQ slides are available to be downloaded with this presentation.
Okay. So, well, thank you, Jim, and everybody. We have a couple of questions in the chat, so we will start with those. They are for Telenor, Min. So the first question is if the platform, Telenor platform, supports NEF functionality.
At this moment, the Telenor platform does not support NEF yet, and this is what we plan to extend in the future.
Okay. And then the second question is about the network on wheels, and there is, well, it's not a question, it's a request if we could provide a more detailed description, like architecture, what's inside, and capabilities, and so on.
Yes, definitely we can provide a more detailed description of the network on wheel in the facility description documents.
Exactly.
Later.
So we have a document on the web with the description of the facilities. Please take a look to that document. And in any case, well, we'll take a look and update it and provide more details.
Yes.
And what we are basically doing in general is any question we are receiving so far, we are either updating the frequently asked questions or updating the documents that are on the web page. So please take a look. Okay. Well, thank you, Min. Yep. Let me check more questions. Can we apply for multiple feasibilities in case we have multiple ideas and we want to check what is and what is not possible to implement? Who wants to take that question? Abdu?
I guess in these sessions you can basically try, I mean, the feasibility check, the main reason for this is whether your ideas are requiring some features that are feasible on the facilities or not. So this is not evaluating the idea itself, just evaluating whether we have the hardware, software, or the features in the facilities that can support these ideas. So as long as you kind of know what are the features, what resources you will require from the facility, you can basically provide, fill in the template and submit. Hopefully it will not be 5-10 from each company. So if you can try to kind of maybe put them together, it will be easier for the facilities to provide a more thorough feedback maybe. But if you have very different ideas, of course you can apply for multiple feasibility checks, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. And then next is at the moment there is no feasibility check form, and that's correct. But we are meeting here in Oslo this week, and should be ready this week, hopefully.
Yeah, in a week or two.
And yeah, and well, the question is, can we contact the facilities with preliminary concepts for discussions? And then, well, the answer is yes. So please get in touch with us if you are targeting a specific facility. Just say so in the email, and we are already available, and we are actually discussing with some companies some ideas and proposals. So, okay, I'll continue. Next, for Portugal, does the platform support ETSI MEC? Jose?
So we have both ETSI compliant and non ETSI compliant solutions. The inners of what is the specific APIs that are currently supported and so on is something that we can take up when discussing the use cases or the extension, whatever is the case.
Okay, thank you. Then, well, there is a comment says, well, great session, thanks. We are interested to participate based on their experience on, well, the Vital 5G project. Well, that's good, but you'll have to prepare the submission and check which ideas or which use case or either platform extension you're interested to apply. Let's see, one more questions. What's the percentage that can be charged for the devices? Lump sum, fiscal amount of the year for the device. So, well, this, Jim, you want to take it?
Yes, as I mentioned, we're using the lump sum model for the payments, and it's our understanding that it's up to the participants themselves to carry out whichever financial checks that have to be done for their own institutions and within their countries. We will be collecting some monitoring information, which is sort of a lightweight table in the deliverables, and then the project itself will be using the lump sum model to pay out what is has been paid out, by the partners themselves.
Yes, and just because, well, maybe to add that despite we are using the lump sum model, we are actually requesting some additional information for potential audits, basically of the commission, so related to this. So, well, like person months, how much budget was used for devices? That was the question here. So it's a lump sum, but you will have to provide more information. Okay.
Just maybe one comment there. Yes. I mean, if it is an extension project, of course, the majority of the cost can go to the devices or software-related things. But if it's an experiment project, of course, that should be more limited in general, because the focus should be on the experiments and verticals and so on and so forth. So maybe that's also kind of one thing to mention.
Okay. So thank you. Let's continue. Let me see. Are the platform extensions specific per platform? In principle, yes. So if you take a look to the document with the platform extensions, there are some thoughts for each platform. As we have said, we are open to extensions, and also to vertical experiments. So that's it. It's always possible to propose an idea to a facility, and then the continues with.
Yes. Some of the platform extensions, on the other hand, can be applied to multiple platforms. For example, the radio equipment. So there are multiple facilities that are interested in the radio equipment. So you can propose to provide radio equipment to multiple facilities and provide the integration with these multiple facilities. Or another example is this immersive equipment. So there are multiple facilities. So it is okay to basically consider, as long as it is specified in that document, to consider multiple facilities, but it needs to be properly justified in terms of how much resources, how much hardware for each facility, and so on and so forth. So it might be possible for some cases, but please try to use the resources wisely and try to justify the choice.
Mm-hmm. Well, related to this, there is, do you have at the moment any requirement for platform features applicable to 2 or more facilities? Well, it is a bit what we were discussing, but just take a look to the document with platform extensions. Some extensions, as Ogdu was saying, have been identified as of interest for more than one facility, and some others only for one facility. So it really depends, and it's a bit up to the proponent also to make a concrete proposal. And then the question, any common unified approach to deploy and expose new features, for example, software components to be containerized and deployed as virtual apps container, or is it specific for each facility? Well, maybe I can. In principle, the 4 facilities are independent. So again, it's up to a given facility, but maybe some extensions can apply to several, and I don't know, someone is eager to work with several facilities, that could be possible. So it's we don't have any, we are not, well, we don't have constraint there. Then, yes, please.
In terms of the multiple facilities for the platform extensions, just keep in mind that one of the requirements of the platform extensions is that support will be provided until the end of the project, the Imagine-B5G project. So that might be a constraint on your particular project to provide support in multiple facilities until the end of the project. So that just might be sort of a limiting factor you should consider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point also. Like the platform extensions should be used for vertical experiments. So when providing a platform extension, it's important that to understand and dimension the project and budget to give support to vertical experiments that might use those extensions, right? Because let's say the project, the call was about vertical pilots and trials, and we included some budget for platform extensions, but they need to be used in vertical experiments. Okay, so let's continue. Will there be a prepayment in advance? Probably you have some slide there. You can show it.
I don't think we have a slide here,
no?
but
Okay.
I can describe it. There is a prepayment after the first month of the project, and this payment is actually a 35% payment. So there will be some meetings involved, and also the initial deliverable with some preliminary information required, and then that first payment will be made very early on in the project.
Okay, we should, if we don't have a FAQ, we should have it on this, even though there is information already available, but it's important for people. So, and if I'm not mistaken, we have a first payment of 35%.
35%, yes.
The second one is 50, and the final one is 15%. And we do have some slides. We should show them somewhere. Then, what is the lifetime support for the platform extension after the end of the open call? Do we have to guarantee the support of the features also after the end of the open call during the Imagine Beyond 5G lifetime? And that's let's see, the first open call, the minimum is 1.5 years for platform extensions, or it's the
maximum.
The-
But we want them to support
What?
up until the end of the project so that we can
what?
support. Okay.
yes, you will explain
So
it better.
the platform extensions, the first one is up to 1.5 years. So there is maybe 6 months left towards the end of the project. But since we would like to kind of use these platform extensions to open up new verticals, new experiments, we would like people to, the proposers to support these platform extensions up until the end of the open call, end of the Imagine project, not the open call project. So this is one thing we require, not any development, but if there are questions or if there are basically people working on these aspects, we would like
experiments, especially.
Exactly. So the vertical experiments that use these extensions to do the experiments, they might need help, and then we would like you guys to support this up until the end of the Imagine project, not the open call project.
Thank you. And then, is there a minimum number of physical meetings to attend? Well, I'd say that there is no minimum, no maximum, so that will depend on the specific project. We have been discussing that, we have received questions that if it's possible to work remotely, and then of course we will try to, we will provide connectivity, remote connectivity to the facilities, to the winners of the open call projects, and we'll try to minimize physical meetings, but it's something that there is no minimum or maximum. You want to add something?
Just want to say, I mean, we really would like to build a community around the testbeds. So as David said, there is no minimum, maximum maybe, but I think it will be good for everyone to plan a few trips, because we will have events. We would like to hear what you have achieved with these, with your experiments, for example, or we would like you to come and visit the facilities to learn a little bit more about the features and so on and so forth. So I think it would be kind of, there is no requirement per se, but I think it would be nice to plan some physical activities, events, workshops that we probably will organize.
Yes, sure.
One thing you can keep in mind as well is because it's an open call process, we can have a bit more flexibility in terms of changing between budget categories. So if during your project you realize that you haven't put enough into travel budgets, we can do some easy shifting in the life of the project without going through amendments and things like this.
And also because it's lump sum model, and that comes to a related question is, from an administrative point of view, if we have to support after the end of the open call, like a platform extension project has to support until the end of the project, what will happen with those travels or support cost time, and if there is a budgetary estimation for those costs. For example, 10K for the support of the project after the end of the open call. Want to take it? I can say that since we are using lump sum model, the budget that is available, you have to take that into account, and there will be some reporting of the first open call at some point, and if later on that platform extension is used, then we could update the reporting in a way. But if not, the budget is, let's say, is closed. It's there is a in all these proposals there is a bit of you cannot plan for everything in very detail, because it's open. We don't know who will win the vertical experiments, who will win the platform extensions. Of course, let's say once we close the first open call, and then maybe we identify some vertical experiments that can go to some platform extensions, and then we could consider at some point that a platform extension is really close. and we don't demand more, you know. But like at a minimum, each platform extension project should be used with a vertical experiment, and that's something that it's a bit open, and the total budget is what is available. But I mean, it's not that we will. Yeah, please.
Maybe at least we want you to commit to support the extensions. Of course, the travels or any budgetary aspects might be difficult, but as long as you remotely try to support, commit to do that, I think at this point, yes, this is what we can take. And then if there is a huge interest and then we need to do some adjustments, that is maybe something we can take later. But I think we would like to see the commitment to kind of support the features, extensions, especially if there is a vertical experiment that will be running on those features.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, we'll try to minimize that type of expenses. Okay, one more question. According to the roadmap, the first open call projects are expected to start around 1st of November, right? Yes, that's the current goal. So to deadline 1st of September, evaluations in September. In October, we will make the paperwork and the ethics review, and start in November. There will be about almost 20 projects, so some will start earlier than the others. Any possibility to start beginning of 2024? Well, I'd say we are open. I mean, it's not set in stone that we will start 1st of November and the 20 projects, or 17, 18. And again, those 20 projects cannot start at the very same time, probably, because some project will start later. So November, December, Christmas, starting in January. I'd say no later than January, but let's see. Or yes, exactly. You have next year there will be another open call, and in the following year, the third and final open call. So, okay. Any more questions? There are. If
I could just see.
Yes, sure.
I just want to point out that the FAQs that we have in here are questions that we've received since the open call has started. So it's not the full list of FAQs. On our website, we have another more comprehensive list of FAQs. So please visit
maybe you can go now, since there are no questions, you can go through the slides.
Okay. Okay, so for example, as I mentioned earlier, do the participants in the open calls in either categories, platform extensions or vertical experiments, have to be located in the countries of the facilities? And the answer here is no. They can be located in other eligible countries to participate, although it may be advantageous in some respects to be in the same or nearby location. The open calls are open to all EU member states and associated countries. This is possible as long as they pass the facility eligibility check, of course, and their proposal justifies well how the work is applicable to the facilities, even if they're not located there. This was covered by Ozu earlier. Can more than one participant apply as a team? So the answer is yes, but it's a maximum of 2 partners. So the target would be 1 partner, coordinator only, or maximum 2 partners, 1 coordinator and 1 distinct partner. Okay, and then as Ozu presented, the budgets are slightly different depending on the size of the team, so please check that. And then we also strongly suggest that if it's a partner team that you have your own consortium and partnership agreement. Can a vertical experiment or platform extension proposal involve more than one facility? As I mentioned earlier, yes. It might be more feasible for a platform extension project. As Ozu mentioned, the radio equipment can be provided to multiple facilities, or robotics, haptics equipment could also be multi-facility. And you just have to justify this in your proposal, and just keep in mind you need a feasibility check in all the related facilities. And then just keep in mind that you must provide support until the end of the Imagine Beyond 5G project in all related facilities. For vertical experiment proposals, it may be more difficult to justify, as the project currently doesn't have cross-facility connections yet. However, we're not ruling this out. That you can discuss this with the facilities and the feasibility checks, and see if this can be put into your proposal. Can my proposal address both vertical experiments and a platform extension in a single proposal? The answer, as I said earlier, is yes. You can have one proposal addressing both of these, but you must first determine your best fit and only submit it to either the vertical experiments or to the platform extensions. And of course, we can help you determine this if you discuss with us about more details on your project. But to determine where it best fits, it's more of a common sense guideline that if the majority of the proposed work involves development, experimentation, trials, and validation, and it requires some hardware and/or software extensions, it will fit best as a vertical experiment proposal. And on the other hand, if the majority of the work involves hardware and software extensions and a smaller amount of experimentations, it would best fit as a platform extension project. Okay, and then again, please keep in mind that the extension projects are required to provide continued support on the implemented extensions to the end of the project.
We have one new question. Can an entity participate in multiple consortia and submit multiple proposals?
As I outlined earlier, you can only be in one proposal to our open call. So, in summary, no.
Yeah. Well, they could be in two, but only one will be funded.
Yes.
Do you have no more slides? No. You can continue.
Yeah, and in actual fact, this sort of answers the question, can I submit one proposal to vertical experiments and another separate one to platform extensions in the same open call? So the answer is no, that submitting two different proposals to one open call is not allowable. However, as I mentioned previously, you can submit one proposal that has elements for both vertical experiments and platform extensions in a single proposal. This is obvious. Is it mandatory to get a feasibility check? Yes. And the result of this will be included in your application to ensure the project is technically feasible. I mentioned this already, that the participant organizations will have to sign a declaration of honor. It's very similar to the ones that you possibly have seen in other European projects, where we're just basically making sure that the eligibility checks have all been done. There's operational capacity, and that there's no double funding happening. And the template for this is already available. Which EU and associated countries are eligible for funding? So it's all of the EU member states and the associated countries that are listed here. Why is there two tables in the current template section? The reason there's 2 there is because you can have a maximum, up to a maximum of 2 partners. So if your proposal just has 1 partner, you just leave the second table blank. Can we upload multiple applications, like you do on the system, the regular ECAS system? Yes, you can submit as many times as you want until the deadline, and the portal will just overwrite and keep the latest one. Do we get a notification when a proposal submission is made? Yes, the submitter will receive an email from the portal each time they submit. And just as I said, these are just samples, and there are many more at the FAQ site on the website.
Thank you, Jim. We have, well, one follow-up question. So if one entity submits multiple proposals and only one can be funded, the question is, will the last submitted proposal will be considered, or and the other discarded, or not necessarily? I mean, if there are multiple proposals, we could evaluate them and then in the ranking decide at that stage.
I think maybe we just say we fund just one from one entity, maybe up to 2 proposals, maybe okay. I don't know, because this is a question coming up, so.
Well, it's from the same guy.
Okay.
That is very interested to
Okay,
submit
yeah.
multiple proposals.
Okay.
Yeah, in principle, I'd say, I mean, we haven't decided about that, but in principle, we could allow for multiple proposals, and then they will go through the evaluation phase, and in the selection, only one, the one with the highest ranking, will be selected for funding, and the others discarded. Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know if there are any additional questions. If not, I think well, it was a good exercise, at least, and we heard many questions. We will send the slides. We are recording the video. We will make it available. We are planning for some additional, well, maybe webinars, but at the end, it's up to the proponents, to the interested parties to get in touch with us. You can already start well, telling us your ideas or questions, or start working on the proposal. And well, there will be these feasibility checks, and for that, we will need to know actually your proposal. So you could start describing it and asking questions and get in touch. So that's very important. The open call will be up, there are 2 months to the deadline, but it's summertime, so that makes it a bit tricky for everybody. So the sooner you start, the better for everybody. And yeah, other than that, maybe we can close. You want to add something?
Please just follow on Twitter or LinkedIn the project, and subscribe to our newsletter. Everything we basically have new or more information, we will basically promote in all channels. So make sure that you don't miss any information as well.
Indeed. Okay.
Until next time.
Yeah. So thank you, and we'll be in touch.